What is going on, everyone? My name's Andy. Welcome to another FPL video. Today it's the weekly preview for Game Week 32 this time around. Just going to quickly go back through the previous week and then look ahead to the one coming up. Obviously international breaks happen. It feels like ages since Game Week 31, so I won't spend too long on that. And then lots of conversation going into Game Week 32, but I've already done a ton of videos already, so I'm trying not to recover too much stuff. But as this is a weekly video, I wanted to get out there and show you my current free hit side. So quickly covering Game Week 31, I took a 8-point hit, got 42 total, so that's only 34 net overall score, so pretty poor. My 8-point hit basically broke even. I took out Aguero, Schindler and Puncheon and brought in Maguire and Wilson, who basically cancelled each other out because Maguire got a red card and Wilson only got 2 points. Maddison scored a free kick, so he got 9 points with his bonus. And so yeah, overall it equaled out. Obviously we'll see in Game Week 33 if Maguire can do something because he won't be suspended for that match. But it was a bit frustrating. If anyone watched the stream live, I was a little bit smug that I'd taken Schindler out because he then wasn't even in the squad, which I didn't know. So I thought, oh, you've been pretty clever then, getting rid of him for Maguire. It's almost like a free punt, and then Maguire got a red card within 4 minutes. So a bit frustrating, but it happens. Then not really anything else happened. I bottled Mane captain. In the end, it was the training pictures that did it. Maddison covered the hit. Rondon, really happy with him because I brought him in over Ashley Barnes, and in that period he's outscored Ashley Barnes, so that's quite nice. Obviously that might change in 33, but because of the FA Cup results, Newcastle now have a fixture in Game Week 33, so I'm happy to hold on to him. And then Chelsea just not doing it, losing 2-0 to Everton was a load of rubbish. Hazard only got 2 points and David Luiz 1, and obviously because I didn't captain Mane, I captained Salah and he blanked as well, so he's been really frustrating. We've got wildcards coming up in Game Week 34, so it'll be interesting to see for those that are wildcard and how many stick with Salah going on to the end of the season, because Liverpool do have some pretty good fixtures to come, so it's a big call. Obviously Mane's in form right now. So like I said, I have already done quite a few videos for Game Week 32, so if I don't run through something here that you didn't want answered, or you did want answered and I haven't gone through it, then go back and check out those videos. I've done 2 Q&A videos, an original free hit draft, obviously a double Game Week announcement. Then there'll be a stream on Thursday at 9 PM, so plenty of content over this international break, and apologies if you've watched it all and I've crossed over a bit. But this is basically my free hit team, and it looks pretty similar to my first draft. I've not really changed it too much. I'm going to talk about on the thoughts of kind of where I go from there, and there's a couple of positions that I'm kind of up for changing, but other ones not so much. I'm kind of already set with that, I think. I don't foresee too many wholesale changes before the break. But that kind of brings me nicely onto the first point, which is press conferences are key. And this can be said every single week, but this week for sure, because obviously the 3 main teams that most people are looking at, Chelsea, Man United and Man City, with maybe Spurs as the kind of next one. But Man United, we're waiting on lots of press conferences, or lots of news from the press conference. I've put a point down there that Lukaku is potentially out. The Manchester Evening News has reported he could be out for another 2 weeks, so he'll miss both the games in the double game week. We'll have to wait to see what Solskjaer says. But if he then says that Rashford's fit, then you'd imagine that Rashford goes straight back to the number 9 position. If Lingard and Martial are fit, then it's basically the front 3 that Solskjaer kind of picked from the start. Obviously, Lukaku wasn't even in the team. It would have actually been really interesting if Rashford and Lukaku were both fit, because people would have really had to make a decision there. A lot of people thinking Lukaku can't be dropped, but I was kind of thinking, well, he wasn't in the team originally. He only got in because of injury, so we'll have to see what happens there. And then moving on, kind of Kane differential. So I've talked about Kane a lot, and I've kind of been against him. Not necessarily like against him as in I think he's a rubbish pick. I don't think you should absolutely pick him at all. But he's 12.5 million. Most people aren't going to captain him. I think that Liverpool game is really tough. I've looked at Liverpool's defensive performances, and against the top 6 this season, they've played 8 games and they've only conceded 7 goals, so less than a goal per game. And obviously, yes, Spurs could win 1-0, they could draw 1-0, they could basically score 1 goal, and Kane could get it, he could get bonus, move up to 9 points, and that would be an okay return before another game against Crystal Palace. But I just think, unless you've got mega cash, and I have seen some really good teams with Kane in, with really good team value, who've still got Hazard, Sterling, Pogba, they've got Aguero up front, Man City, Chelsea defenders, and all that jazz. And I think if you're doing that, then it's okay, because then it's more like Kane versus Jimenez or Kane versus Rashford, maybe, depending on how you set up. And while I think there's a chance that Jimenez and Rashford could match Kane this week, and maybe even beat them if they both play both games, Kane is going to be a 180-minute man or near enough. He is on penalties. He can get goals against the top 6, of course. And in that Crystal Palace game, who knows? It's so open because of the new stadium. We don't know how that's going to affect them. Could take them time to bed in. He could just be really up for it and they might play really well. So The other thing people have been tweeting about today, which I saw, I think it was from Fantasy Football Fix, is that his live ownership is only about 3.3%. So I don't know if that's currently or just from the last game week, but you wouldn't imagine that's going to go up severely. And Harry Kane as a 3.3 differential is pretty enticing because we know what he can do. And it's very, very rare that you get him that low ownership, especially in a kind of free hit team if you get him to do that. So for me, I won't go for him, I don't think. I just don't have the team value to warrant it in my team. I just think I would lose out elsewhere too much. I have looked at it. Definitely don't want to get rid of Aguero because he's going to be my captain. But yeah, if you've got a high team value, you cannot hurt the team elsewhere. I think Kane may be worth a look. We'll talk about the rest of the Spurs options in a sec. And then third City attacker. So I've gone for the Sterling, Laporte, Aguero approach. I think a lot of people are doing that. For me, Aguero and Sterling, I don't think anyone could talk me out of them. I think they're going to be the staple in most free hit teams. But given the fixtures, Fulham away and Cardiff at home, I am pretty tempted to get a third attacker in. The problem is, who do you pick? And I just don't have a good answer for that. Bernardo Silva, probably the most likely, you'd say, to play two, depending on who's fit and not for that team. But he's not really been scoring that well, even if his underlying stats are okay. David Silva is someone I've liked, had him previously this season. And we know what he can do. And when he plays, he gets quite far forward into the box, assist goal potential, of course. Again, is he going to play twice? Sané, Mahrez, you just don't know. And you could say the same about Sterling, but the thing is, if Sterling does play twice, he's in incredible form, has been all season. I just think whichever Man City attackers play will get points, which is why I'm pretty tempted to do it. Whereas Laporte, you're banking on maybe some attacking returns, which over the course of one game week, you just can't rely on. Usually you get a defender in over the course of 4 or 5 weeks and hope that they pick up something attacking along the way. And also, if you do expect Man City to smash Fulham and Cardiff, which is highly likely, it's going to be very hard for Laporte or any of the defenders, unless they get an attacking return as well, to pick up points. So I don't know. I feel like he's maybe a 6 and a 6, which is 12 points, which is decent enough. If David Silva or Sané only play one game, they might pick up 12, which is great. But at least with Laporte, you're kind of guaranteeing it a little bit more. Not to say that Fulham and Cardiff can't score, of course. But yeah, I'm basically going that way. I think third City attacker is actually a nice way to differentiate your team. A lot of people got Aguero, Sterling, Chelsea, Man City defenders, maybe Hazard as well. And I think if you've got those key points, then you can maybe fill in the rest of the positions with slight differentials. And I think 3 Man City attackers is one way to do that. So let me know in the comments below if you're looking at a third City attacker. I'm currently on Laporte, but I do have ways to do maybe like Laporte to Schlupp, and then Milivojevic to someone like David Silva. So that is an option and one I'm definitely considering. Jimenez to play twice. So I've spoken about on the Q&As about Watford and Wolves, and I just think they're going to play the first game, then they're going to have 3 days rest, and then it's 5 days till the FA Cup semi-final. So from the first game to the FA Cup semi-final, it's like, 8 or 9 days in between. So they could rest someone, but obviously some of these players might not have even played over the international break. Jimenez has played 1 game, so he's maybe doing okay in terms of keeping up match fitness and match rhythm, whatever you want to call it. But if they do rest, if they play Jimenez in the first game, then rest him for the second one. That is like 8 or 9 days until he plays in that semi-final. They might just want to keep him going, maybe manage his minutes so he comes off on 60 or 70 minutes. I think the fact that he's missed that second game in the international break makes me a little bit more keen to keep him, because we know what he can do. He's done it all season. And Burnley away and Man United at home, not the worst fixtures for someone who's that cheap. So I'm currently going for him. I do think Watford and Wolves will probably rest 1 or 2 players. I don't know if it'll be as big as everyone's expecting. We saw Watford in particular kind of overhaul a lot of their team when they played Man City to set up defensively. It did work for a bit, but obviously in the end, Man City did end up scoring, I think it was 3 goals. So yeah, I do think there'll be some rotation there, but I'm kind of convinced myself enough at this point to kind of have Jimenez in. I mean, the other options like Batshuayi or Zaha, if he's fit, Huddersfield game very enticing, but then it's Spurs. I'm not sure if there's too many points there. So yeah, right now I'm going for Jimenez. Is he going to play twice? Let me know what you think below. Martial an option, obviously we're going to have to look at press conferences for this, but if he's fit, I think again, if you've got the core Sterling, maybe Pogba and Hazard, that's your core midfield, and you've got space for a fourth, then like Milivojevic is okayly priced, I suppose. But Martial 7.2 million. Now Milivojevic's got penalties, of course. Martial probably doesn't, almost certainly doesn't. But if he's going to be back fit and playing, again, you want a little bit of a differential, and you don't want to go for, like, some people are looking at putting differentials in each position. I think that's probably a little too risky, and you're probably just looking for points where they're not there. I think for certain positions, maybe 3 or 4 of your 11, there is ways to differentiate. I think Martial, if he's fully fit, and Solskjaer says he's fully fit, he could be an option. But of course, is he going to play twice after kind of not having so many minutes recently? But yeah, just to put it out there, I think Martial 7.2 million, pretty easy to fit in alongside that midfield 3, even with Aguero and Rashford. So again, like David Silva, I think he's a bit of a differential there. So keep an eye on the press conference for sure. And then Spurs options that aren't Harry Kane. So again, we're looking out for press conferences. Aurier is apparently injured. He'll probably miss, if he's out injured, he'll probably miss the 2 games. We'll have to wait and see on how long he's going to be out for. But that maybe puts Trippier as an option to play both games. Obviously, we know their fullbacks get rotated quite a lot, but I would imagine if Aurier is out, he will play both. Potential to be on some set pieces. Maybe a clean sheet in the Palace game. Potentially a tight game against Liverpool. Obviously, Liverpool really need to win to keep their chances at the top going. And yeah, they don't concede too many, so they maybe need 1 or 2 goals to win. But I can see it being a tight game. I think top 6 games, I've said this before, are really hard to predict. So when I say I can see it being tight, I mean basically I don't know. It could be open. They're obviously both teams that kind of like to counter. And both teams have got attacking forces that can definitely score goals, but they've also got pretty good defence, Liverpool especially. So I think Trippier, if Aurier is that, is an option. I think the other Spurs defenders, like left back, you're just not sure about, and centre backs, I don't know if they offer enough necessarily going forward for their price. I think maybe Man United, even Chelsea or Man City defenders, probably better options. But Trippier an option. And then looking at midfielders again, I find it very hard because they've not had. We had Son, who was back, kind of got flogged to death. Looked knackered, didn't play against Southampton, has played in the international break, so he's not had a complete break, but he didn't play that Southampton game. And obviously he's done really well this season, and he's the cheapest, I think he's 8.6 million, so I kind of like him. Ali's not had too many minutes, but he's played in the international break, so he looks like he's getting some match rhythm up again. And then Eriksen's always a good bet. So I don't think for me, I've not found a really good way to differentiate them to where I think one stands out well over another one. I think for budget reasons, especially if you're trying to pack in a lot of big hitters, then Son is probably the one to go for. And I do think they're all going to play against Liverpool. And then because it's the new stadium, I wouldn't be surprised if they both play twice. So I'm not ruling out a Spurs midfielder, even though I know that Liverpool game is going to be tough. If one of them can nick a goal and you pick the right one, and then they've got Crystal Palace at home, at their new stadium, I think you could be maybe onto a winner. It's just picking which one. I would favour Son, but I don't have a massively good reason why I favour him over Ali or Eriksen. If you just got a gut feeling for one of the other ones, then maybe go for them if you can fit him in. And then one thing I've been considering, I spoke about Crystal Palace defence in the Q&A, and to be honest, everyone's going on about Schlupp, so I've been trying to find a reason not to go for him, but he does look like the best option at Crystal Palace if he's going to start. Playing further forward, good attacking potential, maybe a clean sheet potential against Huddersfield, and then if that Spurs game is tight, maybe they get one there. I think you're basically hoping for a clean sheet against Huddersfield, and then anything against Spurs is a bonus. But I'm not Man United now. They're playing 2 teams who could rotate, but like I said earlier, I don't know if that rotation is going to be huge. So will Man United get 2 clean sheets? I'm not so sure. So if Schlupp can get one against Huddersfield, then he could match Man United defenders for a bit of a cheaper price, and potential attacking returns. And obviously I've said that attacking returns are hard to predict in a single game week scenario. But Man United wise, I mean, Small and Lindelof, yes, they can score goals from corners, but outside of that, I'm not seeing too much attacking threat. Maybe from Young, assist potential, Luke Shaw if he doesn't get suspended for the second game. But Schlupp playing further forward, I do like. So especially if you need to save money, I'm thinking about, even without needing to save money, I'm thinking about putting Schlupp in, because I just think there's potential there for a big haul, and I've tried to fight against it, but I just can't. And then Campsey, I'm not going to spend too long on this because I did put it in the Q&A. I think it has to be a Man City player, and Aguero is the one for me. He's had a full break. Sterling's played twice. And more recently, Aguero, even when Jesus has kind of been back, has played in the league. Obviously, Man City's still trying to stay ahead of Liverpool. So even though these are 2 easy fixtures, they're going to want to put them away. If they can put a few goals past them early, then they give them, their players a break later on. So I do think minutes could be managed. I just got a little bit more confidence in Aguero playing twice than I do Sterling, and maybe Jesus will get that FA Cup game anyway. So yeah, I'm going to go for Aguero. Outside that, I think it's tough. You could risk it on a Man United player. You could put it on Hazard, great fixtures on his day. He's a brilliant player. But we know we've been burned by him before, so it's a little bit of a worry. And then Aguero captain. And then my plans are really kind of looking at Milivojevic and Laporte and Smalling, and maybe going Schlupp, Martial, David Silva, or Son potentially. And then maybe downgrading Laporte as well if I want to put David Silva in there. But otherwise, I'm pretty happy with this core. I don't have the best team value in the world. I would struggle to put Kane in. Like I said earlier, I am a little bit, or would be tempted if I had a higher team value, because at 3.3%, that's a huge differential. Going to play twice on penalties, etc. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with this team. The only things I'll probably change is Wan-Bissaka and Gaeta. For Crystal Palace will probably be put down to cheaper options to really get the cash into the front first 11. If you're picking someone that might not start both games, then and you need your bench, you're doing your free hit wrong, I think. So yeah, I'm going to leave it there. I think this will pretty much be my final draft. I don't see it changing too much unless there's major news in the press conferences. So let me know what you think about it. What have I done wrong? What have I done right? If you've got any further questions, leave a comment below. One more bit of content before the deadline comes, which will be on Thursday at 9 o'clock. Which is the live stream, which I've not done one over the international break, so that should be good. Otherwise, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like, much appreciated as always. Subscribe if you are new around here, leave comments below, and I will catch you next time. Cheers all.